Did you say what the spine looked like?
Depot devoid.
Depot devoid!
Something wrong, Davy?
Depot devoid.
Jack Flack to Lady Ace! Jack Flack to Lady Ace!
Davy, this is embarrassing.
Play right!
They really did capture that feeling very well, in my opinion.
There are some things that work very well about this movie. Hello. Welcome to Depot Devoid. I am Matt Fagan, and here with me is my brother. What's your name again?
Bob Morganson?
I am taken aback.
Oh, the other me. I'm Ted Fagan.
Oh, okay. Now we're on the same page. All right, much better.
Bob's not here.
Bob's not here. Bob is definitely not here. We are here, and we are going to talk about the 1984 children's spy thriller, Cloak and Dagger.
Wait, is that what it is?
That's what it is to me.
I thought we were discussing CLOAK DAGGER, the plight of the urban pigeon.
I think that you'll find all of our listeners, while riveted by your many cloaca stories, have a difficult time processing the whole cloaca intersectionality with the movie that we're discussing.
There's really not an intersection with the cloaca. It's just a straight.
I don't think that there were any intentional cloacas involved in the making of this movie. Maybe unintentional cloacas. The accidental cloaca.
I guess we'll just discuss a movie that I haven't seen since I was a child, since I went and watched this movie that I thought we were talking about, the documentary about the plight of the urban pigeon.
Cloaca Daggers. I had also not seen Cloak and Dagger for a good 30 some years. It is. There were certain things that I recalled, but it was really vague in my mind going into it. I was excited because we'd recently watched Frog Dreaming, also starring Mr. Henry Thomas, who is a terrific child actor. And he is also a terrific child actor in this movie, although, again, it has one or two issues. But I really liked going back to it. He's a pretty magnetic presence when it comes to child actors. There are a lot of them that are not nearly as engaging as Mr. Thomas. And it reminds me that the world deserves a Henry Thomas Barrett Oliver team up movie. Like where is the Bastion and Elliott crossover that we deserve?
Do you really want to do that now?
Obviously, the real results, if that were to happen, would be less than satisfying. But can I not demand it anyway, and then be left wanting?
What would it be?
It would be terrible, is what it would be. It would be awful. There's no reason to do that. But they were both really terrific, and if they could have somehow...
Can we add a Treyu to the mix just for fun?
A what now?
A Treyu.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would watch that. Some Noah Hathaway.
It could all be about the loss of his horse and how sad he is.
I think that that was covered well enough in the never-ending story.
Matt, maybe it's what led to his drinking problem. And it could be the same kind of drinking problem that Ted had in Airplane.
I feel like the death of the horse in the never-ending story probably led to thousands of drinking problems in people our age.
What was the name of that horse? It ended with an X, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And did it start with an A?
Yeah, it wasn't Carfax.
It was almost certainly not Carfax, although that would have been pretty funny.
Carfax?
Was it Califragilistics?
Maybe. But I thought it
I
was an
guess
axe, not an
the
X.
only solution is to watch the Never-Ending Story, which is just fine with me.
I haven't
Um,
seen that in much longer than any of these other movies that we've
I've
listed here.
seen the Never-Ending Story far more recently. Uh, I do not want to watch the Never-Ending Story too, but I would definitely watch the Never-Ending Story.
I
This
remember liking it.
that it holds up better than some of these movies that we have been revisiting from our youths.
You know what
Uh,
it didn't have, though?
what is that?
A retractable American flag parachute that stores comfortably inside an unpadded jacket.
I really like the opening scene of this movie. I did not remember any of it, but as soon as it started, I was fully on board. It was like everything was an unfolding memory. Like the movie was just reminding me that all of this was there inside my head, and that was sort of a fun experience. That's the opening scene is set in Russia, I think. um
Potentially. Or is it
Maybe.
the Middle East?
Look, there's some spy thriller shit happening in the opening scene. There's some soldier types and some political intrigue, and then our hero Jack Flack parachutes in his giant American flag parachute, and yes, it retracts into his back like a vacuum cleaner cord. Just sort of
Ready to
sucks it
go
up.
again.
I feel like the movie is telling you that this is a fantasy immediately. Um, the action is all sort of speeded up a little bit, like the old James Bond movies, except even more ridiculous in its speediness. Um, they're really letting you know that what you're seeing isn't real. But it's really fun to watch, and like there's in this very short period of time, there's double crosses and double crosses, and punching and kissing, and the stealing of a briefcase. It's all very exciting. And then he gets trapped, and then the giant dice come in.
But
And it's
before
great.
that, there was one other thing that really laid it out to me in a perfect example of how I knew that this movie wasn't real. It was written by Tom Holland.
Tom Holland,
He
who
wasn't even alive.
he co-wrote the first Child's Play movie, and
Huh.
he wrote and directed Fright Night. Do you remember Fright Night?
Vaguely, I remember I rented it 3 times, and I don't remember much of anything about it other than I can't remember if it's werewolves, vampires, or both.
It's vampires. It's like a teen vampire like horror comedy about a kid who sees a vampire move in next door and nobody believes him. And then he ultimately has to team up with the host of a late night horror show to fight the real vampire. It's pretty fun. And the sequel is also pretty terrific. It's not great, but it does have a slow motion roller skating vampire, which is fucking awesome.
I could get behind that.
This movie that we are watching does not have a slow motion roller skating vampire, but it does have Dabney Coleman in a dual role, but we'll get to that. Yes, the whole opening scene is actually a role playing game that Henry Thomas Elliott from ET is playing in the weird back room of a gaming store in like an enclosed mall, I guess, with his 8-year-old best friend, a girl named Kim, who is 8 years old but literally looks like a TV mom from the 70s, which is very strange.
She very much acts like one too.
She's like a tiny Florence Henderson. It's a peculiar phenomenon. But I like her, and it's like it for like at that age, it's sort of like you think, is it strange that like a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old are best friends? But they actually they work as a pairing very well because she's all precocious because all kids in the 80s are exactly like adults, only smaller. But I love her. She's great. I wish she was in more stuff. She's another one of those child actors who just kind of like, yeah, who knows? But yeah. So what we're learning very quickly is that Davy, Henry Thomas, is obsessed with games and spies, particularly. He's living out this fantasy kind of all the time, and Kim is not totally on board with it, but she tolerates it because it makes him happy, and as she tells her mom later, he's the only boy in the neighborhood who isn't totally boring.
Yeah, and we do end up. Well, I guess it's probably a little early about the whole mom deal, but that does add to the whole effect of why the adults don't listen to him is because
Absolutely. And there's
very childish and recently lost his mom, and he's obsessed with games, and they're like, oh, maybe he's not paying attention to reality and he's making stuff up.
Yes, there are some things about this situation that work, and we'll get to it. There's a couple of things in this movie, even with I love the whole this is a kids on bikes movie, obviously. It's kids with bus passes.
No bikes.
It's kids with bus passes, but it is still a kids on bikes movie.
I figured that there would be an argument about that.
It is a variation on a tried and true formula. And like a lot of monster movies in the 50s and beyond, you have this division between what is happening in the world of the kids and what is happening in the world of the adults. And sometimes this movie does an okay job of explaining why that disconnect exists, and sometimes it relies on very frustrating conventions that make me mad. So we'll get there. but yes, he's obsessed. He wants everything to be playing out a spy thriller imagination game, and to that end, he fully realizes Jack Flack in his day-to-day life. Jack Flack from the game. It's not really clear whether the game was designed around the character that he loves or whether he loves this. It's his. I don't know the origin of Jack Flack is what I'm saying. I don't know if he came from the game or it was the other way around.
Or if it was attached to the previous iterations of Cloak and Dagger that have existed for a long time. I didn't look into any of that.
It's a bit confusing. But he is essentially an imaginary friend who is like a spy thriller mentor. He's a James Bond hero, and he is coaching Davy along through the spy thriller that he is living out in his fantasies. The guy who runs the game store lets him and Kim borrow a couple of walkie-talkies to run an errand for him.
I'm sorry, just because it's a secret mission.
Well, I'm gonna get to that. For him, for Morris, the guy who runs the game store, it is an errand. In order to get Davy to run the errand, he gives it to him as a secret mission, because that's how you motivate somebody who wants to live life like a spy thriller. So he takes his walkie-talkies and his squirt gun full of red dye. And
also, squirt gun looks like a real gun. Gotta mention that it's 1984.
Yes, this is before the law changed. And it was perfectly legal to sell squirt guns and other toy guns that were visually indistinguishable from the real thing. Um, and so that is what he is carrying around. That will, in fact, be important later. So they go off with their bus passes and ride their bike bus downtown to Textronics to pick up some game catalogs and some secret Twinkies from the vending machine. They will have a message inside.
It's important, Matt. It's a secret mission. It must be done.
It's pretty fun. He like they go down there and he's pulled his gun and he's like sneaking through the lobby. Everyone is pretty accommodating of this kid just like going through the lobby with a gun. That's the way it was in the 80s. Security guards didn't always murder children who were carrying real looking fake guns back then. Sometimes they let them go. And
It's a true fact.
indeed it is. Yeah, so they head off, but they split up because, in case one of them is taken out. So Kim takes the elevator and Davy takes the stairs. But you know what? While they're waiting for the elevator, there's a couple of big dudes also waiting for the elevator. And I don't know if you noticed this, but they were carrying real guns.
Oh, no, they were the same.
Oh, they were squirt guns?
Yeah. I mean, it's the 80s. You don't have guns in the 80s. It's squirt guns.
Wait,
right?
did cops carry squirt guns in the 80s?
Yeah, and that's how RoboCop, blasted that. Oh, shit. They were real guns. My bad.
But wait, were the cops in LA carrying squirt guns and that's why they had to beat Rodney King with sticks?
Well, I mean, there's different tools for different jobs. Plus, that was April 26, 1992, Matt, not 1984.
Being a cop is way more complicated than I can understand.
Well, yeah, but I mean, really, 1992? Geez, that was 32 years ago. I mean, we're talking about 40 years ago. Times.
Look, 32 years ago might as well be 40 years ago. Yeah, can't argue with that, Ted. My logic is unassailable.
Now, see, I remember some things from when I was 2 years old, but I remember more things from when I was 10 years old. So I can't go into police interactions from when I was 2, because all I got to go on there is the Jones boy's dad was a cop.
Look, all I can tell you
I
is
got to
that
ride in the back of a police car.
your arrest record from when you were 2 has been sealed.
I don't know if I was ever arrested so much as taken for a ride on the back of a police car, but they're really uncomfortable. I'll tell you that.
Really? They're not built for comfort in the back seat?
No. In fact, the one that I rode in the back of was hard plastic.
Oh.
I think for probably easy cleanup.
I'm picturing like a Baskin Robbins chair now.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just my recollection from when we were little and Officer Jones, I don't know, the dad of the Jones boys.
I sort of remember them a little bit.
There were 3 of them. One of them's name was Jeremy. I think there was a Josh, but I don't know.
The Jeremy part I remember.
Yeah, I literally only remember that Jeremy Jones was one of them, because then when we moved over into Grandpa's house after our parents were getting divorced, we ended up having a neighbor briefly after that who was roughly Ian's age, named Jeremy. And so Ian and I hung out with Jeremy there all the time. And so it was a new Jeremy. His name was Peterson.
I see. I don't remember that.
You don't remember Jeremy Peterson?
I don't.
He was an annoying companion of ours a lot, except he was also grounded all the time.
Where did he live?
So if you walked out Grandpa's front door, he's to the left, the immediate property to the left. There was a trailer down that hill.
Okay, yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember him. Everyone who ever lived there was annoying though.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of winners.
He briefly had a foster sibling that was unfortunately treated very poorly by the family.
That does not surprise me.
And he looked very much like the kid who was friends of John Connor from Terminator 2.
Oh,
But he
okay.
didn't have nearly the cool punk clothes.
He didn't dress like Nelson Muntz from The Simpsons.
No, he didn't. Anyway, I think we've gotten a little off topic here.
Yes. Okay. So now, okay, the important stuff is about to happen. Okay, guys, bear with me here. So they split up. Somewhere in this building are some dudes with guns, but Davy and Kim need to make it to the 7th floor to Textronics to pick up those freaking catalogs. And so they split up, and Davy takes the stairs, and Kim takes the elevator. And while Davy is going up the stairs, something happens. Now, did you find this setup confusing with the reflections?
No, because I remembered it.
I did not remember it at all.
Yeah. I don't think that Davy got it until the guy came through the door.
Right. It's okay. So the way this is set up is basically we're in a stairway that has windows. And the building across from us, I guess, is
mirrored glass.
Yeah, they're and perfectly set up to like give us like window on window reflections so that we are seeing Davy reflected directly across from us. So we know that there's mirror action happening. But it's still like it's a weird setup because it doesn't look like it's mirrored. Like the fact that we see Davy is the only reason we know that. And it would like it seemed a little odd, but it okay. So on the floor above, we see some men fighting in the window, and he witnesses a shooting, which I guess like yeah, it seems like he believes it's happening in the building across from him, which makes sense because the framing of this shot is weird. But he realizes it's not when the guy who just got shot stumbles into the same stairway he's in, one floor above him.
Yep.
And so what happens is this dude passes an Atari game cartridge to Davy for a game called Cloak and Dagger and tells him how important it is and gives him some numbers. And it's very weird. And he's like, what the fuck is going on?
Gotta get out of here.
Gotta get out of here. And so he ends up not meeting Kim in time at Textronics and instead bails because they thugs burst into the stairway and finish murdering the guy.
And start shooting at Davy as he runs down the stairwell.
Yeah,
but
so he
drops the ball. You can't possibly stop without mentioning the falling of the body down the stairwell for their most beautiful shot.
Are you suggesting that fake corpse didn't look real? It was
and lands with the legs back behind his head, and they don't do anything to try and straighten out the shot.
Yeah, it's
great. I love that.
They didn't care that much.
No. They probably figured, well, they'll fix that.
Well, they also might have figured, hey, this is for kids. They don't need to see a real looking corpse.
Come on, Matt. This was a movie that was intended to be watched by parents and children alike and to work through their own trauma of being parented and being treated poorly as a child and being a bad parent, trying to be a good parent. It's all about family. This is a therapy film.
I feel okay, yes, you are not wrong, but I also think that some of that was applied later.
Yes.
And we'll get, yeah. Remember how I liked a lot of frog dreaming except the very end? Yeah, that wasn't the first time Henry Thomas starred in a movie like that. Yeah, but so he witnesses the murder and he runs off. And he tries to do the right thing like right away. He runs out, he talks to the security guard, he tells them that this has happened. But the body's already gone. And then Mr. Rice comes down the stairs and the security guard's like, "Did you see anybody?" And Mr. Rice is like, "Nope, I didn't see anybody up there," which basically convinces him that the kid is making shit up, because I guess it doesn't occur to anybody that Mr. Rice could actually be the bad guy.
Well, Matt, you can't trust kids.
I do not trust kids because all of them are liars all the time.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest plights of being a child.
I mean, yes, I mean, all I did from the ages of 0 to 18 was just lie, lie, lie.
And then you had the 3 years of Rumspringa before you turned 21.
I sure did.
And then you were accepted back in the fold after all
That's
of your
not a lie.
sins.
That's not a lie because I'm over 21 now.
And you quit sinning.
Unless saying that I'm over 21 was a lie. You don't know.
Just like how I keep telling Emily that I'm aging backwards since I started running and she gets mad at me for it.
I'm not sure it's worth getting mad about, but I mean, she might have a point that you could be mistaken about it.
Yeah, but it's more fun to say that now all my birthdays I go 1 year backwards. Not because I actually am one of those weirdos who has like some fear of getting older,
And then,
but
like,
just
eventually,
because I think it's hilarious to say
and then
it,
eventually your relationship will become totally inappropriate.
well, yeah, see, I don't think I'll carry on the farce that long. But I thought it was funny because it was like prime time to say it because when I started running again was when I was 39. And so 40 is when people usually don't want to be like, oh God, I've gotten 40. And so it's like, no, I'm not turning 40. I'm turning 38 this year. I'm going back.
I forgot that I hadn't already turned 40. Like, I'd just been telling people I was 40 when I turned 40. And then I confused myself. I was just so close. It just seemed easier than saying 39.
Yeah, I just it's not pertinent in my day how old I am.
I tell people I'm 50 all the time.
Yeah.
Because I look amazing.
And see, that's a good thing too. You know, I get to look at you, Matt, and be like, well, hey, you know, if I'm doing all right here in another 8 years, I'm probably going to be doing right.
Right, because you're running. I don't even try.
Yeah.
Like, you like exercise and stuff. So like you're gonna be fine. I do nothing.
Okay. Well, hey, you bake pie.
Unless the whole back thing gets you, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, actually, my back was a lot worse before I started running, and I was really terrified because the last time that I'd been running was in my mid-late 20s, and that's when I pinched my sciatic nerve, and I swore that I would never run ever again in the rest of my life because it was really bad for many, many months after that. But then when I had high blood pressure, it was like, well, time to recalculate my values here. What is more important? Risk, reward, let's take the risk, see about reward. And it's so far been okay.
That seems fair.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Well, get back to me when you're 50. I mean, if you ever make it out of your 30s.
Hey, you know, we're getting there. One of these days we might age forward a little bit. I'm not going to be turning 42 this year. I think I'm going to be 36.
We'll see. I'll I'll ask Emily what age she approves.
I don't even remember what backyard zero I'm supposed to be because I really don't give a flying fuck. But, it's a good time.
All right, back to Textronics. Because we're getting toward the end of this segment and we haven't actually started the movie
Hey, we're halfway there.
yet. So while this is happening, also it should be noted that Jack Flack appears and tells Davy not to cooperate with the police anymore. So he doesn't. And when the cops bring him home later that night, it is made clear that he only gave his name, rank, and serial number for a long time, and that if they hadn't gotten the information out of the little girl, they would not have known where to bring him. So the cops bring him home, and that is the first time that we meet Davy's father and discover that Dabney Coleman plays both the dad and Jack Flack. And one can't help but think that this might have some psychological significance in the mind of Davy.
It does appear pretty big, and it's also got to be really difficult for Davy, whose dad immediately says, "Oh, I'm so glad you're home. Now fuck off and go right to your room, you sack. No, shut up, get to your fucking room." No.
Yep. Yeah, this scene leads up to the part that I was talking about that the first thing that I found particularly annoying in the whole kids versus adults thing that this movie has going on. But at first it's kind of like he sends him off, which is a dick move, but then he seems to try to reach out and like connect with him and have an actual conversation about what happened today. Davies tries to tell him what he saw, and Dad doesn't believe him, and he's like, if Mom were here, she'd believe me. And he does seem to try. He knows
care.
that, yes, and it seems like maybe some other stuff has happened since Mom died. He says that maybe tomorrow we'll call this doctor that we assume from context is a shrink or child psychologist, that they have some sort of pre-existing relationship with, probably related to Mom's death. A lot of this is left to inference, but I think this is what we're dealing with. And at the suggestion that they call the doctor, Davy says, Jack Flack was right. You think I'm crazy. And Dad's response is, you're still talking to Jack Flack. Jack Flack is make-believe. So we know Dad knows about Jack Flack. So this is all stuff that has been previously established in their lives. And this is maybe a point of contention. You kind of get the vibe that, hey, perhaps Dad thinks that it is time to stop talking to Jack Flack. But he understands that Jack Flack is his son's imaginary friend. He also thinks that all of this gaming is unhealthy. And Davy insists that what happened today was real and that this game cartridge is a clue and that it's not just a game cartridge. And he believes that if he plays the game, that he'll find out what the secret is. And Dad, of course, assumes that he just wants to play the game. And so he won't let him keep playing. And he's just very, very dismissive about it. And he has, this is our first moment where we see the kind of imposed theme of the movie, where he says that heroes put supper on the table and fix bicycles and do boring things, trying to assert to his son that, hey, like I'm doing the real work here. and I get it, but it is kind of clumsy. And he just says, fuck this, packs up the games, says, I don't want you playing these anymore. And Davy's like, Dad, if you just play one with me sometime. Which I found way more poignant than anything that the dad said about what real heroes are like.
It really is a big point. And I mean, I can see it from both sides too, where, I mean, the critical factor is Dad's not around to parent. Dad's not around to play. And quite frankly, probably doesn't have the time to be around to parent and to play, because trying to maintain a single parent household we don't know how recent, but no, it is recent that mom's gone. So I mean, and it really feels like it's very recent, where you would assume that there might be some potential for bereavement leave for a longer period, but we don't know if it was 2 months, 2 weeks, probably a few months. But
Yeah, we're not really given any solid information
yeah,
about what happened. The dad actually just uses the word recently when he's talking
Yeah.
to the cop. So we don't know any further information than that. Dad works at like a military base. So he probably has some like limited amount of ability to control his own schedule. But there's not a lot of indication that he's trying to spend more time at home.
no, it very much feels like, honestly, he does seem to be the person who's I'm going to get myself lost in work rather than do
That's the
important
vibe.
family things. And to be fair, I'm recognizing that because I've done that myself. And
Also,
it takes work to get out of it.
we also only this whole movie takes place in like a day and a half. Like,
And
so we
Davey
don't
never changes his clothes.
no, he wears the same clothes 2 days in a row. Which I think really speaks also to his dad's parenting skills. Also, I think it's because they just chose an outfit that would make a good visual target on the screen.
Yeah.
So it's easy for us, the audience, to follow, and easy for the bad guys to follow
Yeah, and he's going through a lot of very busy sequences, so it's good
Yes,
to
and he's
have a
wearing-
Where's Waldo ass outfit.
Yes, he's wearing a red and blue striped shirt, a red windbreaker, and a red backpack. Like he is a big, bright red target. He also conveniently carried a baseball that he dropped earlier that has his full name, David G. Osborne, written on it. So now tonight at home, the phone rings and Rice is on the other end. He says, "Is this David G. Osborne?" And he says, "Yeah." And he's like, "Good." And Davy immediately knows that it's the bad guys establishing his whereabouts and calls for his dad. They hang up right when his dad picks up the phone. And this is what fucking pisses me off. Dad asks, what did they say? And Davy says, "They just asked who I was." And Dad thinks it's the wrong number because they don't fucking talk about it anymore. That's not just what happened. He didn't ask who I was. He said my name.
Yeah.
The guy and so this is not on Davy. This is bad writing. This is the writer dropping the ball worse than Davy did when he dropped the ball and using this clumsy fucking lack of communication when one more sentence would have fixed the problem. And as a viewer, even as a kid, this is the sort of shit that I find really frustrating because you don't need to do that. You don't need to rely on these dumb choices. And maybe that's a good place to pause for a moment.
Well, we got less than a minute, but I'm still going to put on here. It would have been more narratively functional to have that conversation go on rather than Davy to say, "Hey, Dad, can I sleep in your bed tonight?" Why? So he allows him to go sleep in the bed, but he's not going to ask him about his troubles.
Yeah.
What kind of... That's a big failure.
It's, yes.
As a parent and as a writer.
Yes, this scene is clunky. Clunk, clunk, clunk. There are some better ones later.
All right. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Airplane Boys, where we talk about guys who jump out of airplanes with American flag parachutes. There was one right at the beginning of this movie that we're talking about today, Matt. What did you think about Jack Flack and his amazing American flag parachute where he kicked that guy from the Saudi Arabia area right in the jaw?
I've seen a lot of American flag parachutes in my day, and you know what I have noticed is that almost every time they use an unimaginative oblong shape, because the American flag is an unimaginative oblong shape, I think we can all agree that both the American flag and parachutes could benefit from a dramatic redesign. I'm talking rhombus. I'm talking octagon. I'm talking maybe like a little 7-pointed star. Do we need another oblong American flag, either inside or outside the back fat of Dabney Coleman?
Well, that might be your opinion, and you might want to change the shape of the flag, but we're talking about somewhere between 13 and 50 stars. Where are you at on this one? Because you can't go below 13 or above 50 until we start recognizing Guam.
I think that we have established that it is 49 stars because, to quote one Abraham Simpson, I'll be deep in the cold, cold ground before I recognize Missouri.
All right, you broke my bad person.
Welcome back to Depot Devoid, where we are talking about Cloak and Dagger, and we are now, at last, on day 2 of the events of the movie Cloak and Dagger.
Sun is rising, Dad is gone.
This is the day when everything happens. Yeah, so Dad is working a double shift, he establishes for us. Davy has frequent arguments with Jack Flack about how we should proceed. I'm starting to think that Jack Flack doesn't always have Davy's best interest at heart.
I think that this is a very good excuse for Davy to argue with himself about what is good and safe and intelligent. And that's why his imaginary friend is trying to tell him, like, hey, didn't we do it right when we did it this way and this one time? It's a game.
It is a game, and it's becoming clearer and will become even clearer still that Jack Flack is all about being in it for the game. And it's interesting because at this point in the movie, we as viewers, depending on where we land on the imaginary friend idea, like we can absolutely believe that this is all Davy having internal dialogue, essentially. It will become less possible to continue believing that as the movie progresses. But at this point, it really does seem sort of like that.
I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that in my life, I have regularly talked about, oh, that was a great game. Oh, this is a great game we're having right now, when it's just real life. And it's like, oh, God, no, no, no.
Did this movie break you?
No, but I'm starting to wonder if it had a little bit more influence on my perception of this is a game, because I am living a game. We're all playing characters and roles in real life every day at all times, and sometimes it's a good game.
I'm not sure that that necessarily makes it a game, though. Maybe it's just a play. Is a play always a game? Games involve playing, but is a play always a game?
Are we talking a play like as in theatre?
Exactly, because that's what we're doing a lot of the time. I mean, most of the time when I'm playing a role, that's what I'm doing.
But we also got to roll the dice and see how the other characters respond.
But I can't win. It's not really a game if there's no positive outcome.
Sometimes it's a zero-sum game, Matt, but we can still try and win.
Yeah, we can try, I guess. Okay, now that's super depressing.
Well, let's get out of that hole.
Meanwhile, in the world of Cloak and Dagger, where things are simpler and occasionally it's easy to tell who the good guys and bad guys are.
And your innocence has not been fully destroyed by life.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm quite dead inside. This movie is it's pretty fun, and we're really getting rolling on this second day. It is very real. Everything that Davy saw really happened. He goes to see Morris at the game store, and who establishes that there is in fact an extra microchip built into this game. So that's exciting. We've got some vindication from an external source. Someone else sees that something actually occurred yesterday. It's not all just in Davy's head.
And if you hadn't noticed, Morris is super obvious 80s nerd.
Oh, was he? I didn't notice from the shaggy beard and the thick Coke bottle glasses.
And that he's also still wearing the same shirt as he was yesterday, just like Davy.
How do you expect this movie to afford 2 wardrobes for multiple characters when they spent all that money on the mannequin they threw down the stairs?
To be completely honest, I didn't pay attention to whether or not Kim was wearing the same outfit.
I'm pretty sure she's not. I remember what she's wearing on the second day, but I can't remember thinking about it, what she was wearing on the first day. Because she's got that sort of red plaid top with the princess sleeves on the second day. But I don't remember.
So that was different. I think she was wearing like a pinky white off color.
Okay. Because yeah, I can't quite bring to mind.
I was clocking these people are wearing the same thing.
Yes, well, because you expect that of the boys. Gross
the
80s.
You only have to wash thrice a week, right?
I'm sure it just wicks away moisture.
It's Texas. It's not hot.
Oh, right. This whole thing takes place in Texas because they're going to go to the Alamo later. So it matters that it's Texas, because if it were like Indiana, then it would be weird that they go to the Alamo later.
Probably.
So Morris starts playing the game in the back of the game store, assuming, much like Davy did last night, that if he beats the game or something, then he will find out what the deal is with this extra microchip. So Davy leaves Morris to do that, and he calls Kim, who is at his house, and while he's on the walkie with her, Rice nabs her. And he tells Davy that if he wants to see Kim,
hold on.
The Japanese gardens.
We completely omitted the part where the wrestling man and the other fellow totally Kool-Aid man their way into his house and scared him out of his house. Sorry, not like we have to spend a lot of time on that, but it was definitely like an oh yeah.
Yes, and that's also another potential continuity issue, because Kim doesn't seem to mention that the house was trashed. And yes, so before Davy leaves the house, the thugs show up at his place, and he bails. And they literally do like just crash through the door like Lou Ferrigno. And it seems sort of silly. And I mean, I can buy into them spiriting the corpse from the bottom of the staircase away. But they left a lot of evidence in the house. And it doesn't seem like they're the tidy cleanup type. Maybe they have a cleaner that comes after them. But yes, it is true. They fucked up the house, and Kim isn't like running back next door to her mom and saying, "Hey, somebody smashed the wall next door. Maybe we should call the authorities." She seems pretty calm on the walkie.
Well, to be fair, she probably would have been in there and saw the guys and be like, "Aren't you embarrassed? This is really embarrassing what you've done here. Why?
Are you guys proud of yourselves?"
Where's Davy?
She does seem like she's not mad, Ted. She's just disappointed.
Extremely disappointed.
But yeah, so she gets kidnapped, and Rice takes the walkie and tells Davy to meet him at the Japanese gardens, and they're going to exchange the Cloak and Dagger game for Kim. But Jack Flack talks Davy into stealing a regular Cloak and Dagger game from the game store to use as a decoy.
And I can't remember what terminology he used to try and pretend that it was okay, but I appreciate that he used something that sounded childish and stupid rather than something that sounded adult, intelligent, and related to the industry.
The most improbable part of that for me was that apparently it's okay for the game store to open all of the games and take the games out and put a proprietary sticker on the back.
I don't know if that was ever a thing because I can't remember how it was in life, especially it was a factory sealed thing was what we're assuming, but
Right. Because you pulled it off the shelf at the game store.
yeah, if you were buying it, say, from a video store where they're selling a used copy, or
Yeah. This did not
was it a
appear.
used copy?
There was no indication that it was a used copy.
Not at all.
Yeah, it seems weird to me, but
It seemed innocent and like he wasn't trying to get Morris murdered.
that is true. There is no indication that Henry Thomas actively set out to get Morris murdered, even though that's exactly what he does.
And Henry Morris, if you're out there listening, I would love to have your take on this because I know that you are not Davy Osborne. You just played him on TV. If you've got anything to say about this, please reach out to us at Matt. What is the email address?
depotdevoidpodcast@gmail.com.
There we go. Please, Henry Morris, depotdevoid at gmail podcast.
Are you combining the names Henry Thomas and the character of Morris from the movie into one thing?
If I just did that, yeah.
So who would you rather talk to? The actor Henry Thomas or the character of Morris? Because if we can get that actor to just be in character playing Morris, I'm all for that.
I wouldn't mind all five if we combine them and break them apart evenly.
Well, can we also, for no reason, invite Barrett Oliver at the same time?
Matt, Barrett Oliver has a standing invitation.
Oh my God, can they be the voices of the Transformers?
No, but when we do ruin Voltron, they can be.
Hey, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm faxing over a contract.
I'm sold. I will sign it with blood.
Okay, so we go to the Japanese garden.
I'm not saying whose blood.
I don't, as long as it's blood, I don't care. I'm not because I'm thirsty. No reason, really. No reason. Don't ask. We should watch Fright Night.
All right, Japanese gardens, which we have way too much of this in the movie.
But Michael Murphy as Rice is pretty scary here. Like, I appreciate that. We'll find. I'll get to it later, but without remembering it actively at all, like his bad guy character, like I like really internalized some of his scary shit without remembering it. And then when I was watching it this weekend for the first time in over 30 years, I was like, whoa. And the first time that it registered is just the scary face that he's making at Davy when they encounter each other at the gardens. Like, that's where at first I was like, whoa, you like I knew he was playing the villain. I'd seen him earlier in this movie, but right there is where I was like, oh, you're that guy.
He found his element.
You're this scary thing that I didn't remember I remembered. So they do the whole exchange so that they can get so he can get Kim back. Unsurprisingly, the bad guy tries to double cross him, and Davy pulls his fake gun, which gives him a moment of pause because he's not sure if it's real or not, and then he shoots him in the face with the red ink, and that buys them enough time to run the fuck off with Kim. But it's clear that these guys are they're out to kill them at this point. Like this is not they're not willing to deal. They are here to eliminate this fucking kid.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're kids with bus passes.
And they're not fucking around. They're kids with bus passes and they'll get boat passes.
They are fucking out of there. They are on the bus. Unfortunately, the bus is being tailed by a van full of
Which
bad
was
guys.
way too conveniently located. Thank you very much. But I still appreciate it. It keeps the plot moving along without us having to take much of a break. Let's go.
And at the same time, they have Rice discovering the sticker on the back of the Cloak and Dagger game that he tried to use as a decoy, and the sticker tells him where the game store is. So he radios the thugs in the van and says, "I'm about to go get the real game. I don't have any more use for this kid. Take him out." So Davy sees the van following the bus, and he figures if he just runs, they'll follow him and Kim will be okay, because he mistakenly believes that he's the only one who knows where the real game is, but he's not. So, yeah, so he jumps off and runs, and they chase him. It's all very exciting. They're like legit trying to kill Henry Thomas. Like, you don't really see it, this kind of like peril all the time in these kids movies, but this is like legit, like adults with guns chasing a 13-year-old boy through the public spaces trying to murder him.
No, and usually when you do end up seeing this, especially in early 80s to mid 90s movies, what you end up seeing is like comedic failures on the parts of the adults. But what you're seeing here is a kid who's actively, intentionally trying to be crafty, make himself in a spot with people, and make it to where he can't get killed without evidence being shown. He's really, truly trying to engage his surroundings without it being a joke. Because this movie is not about it being a joke. This is a movie about nobody listening to him. And it's real danger. And he's admittedly living in a fantasy world, but also now that fantasy world has become his strange reality.
And he doesn't like it. Like, it's
no.
Like, he immediately understands that there is a big fucking difference between playing spycraft and actually being pursued by hitmen trying to kill you. And he is he's like, for a 13-year-old kid, he's like pretty resourceful. And he's got Jack Flack like trying to help him out too. He's like, Jack Flack is saying, he tells him to get on the riverboat because there's no way they're going to kill him with all those people. And so he does that, but the thugs manage to get on the boat with him. And that's where we meet this very helpful old couple.
They scared the living shit out of me the whole time. The first time I ever saw them when I was a little kid, they fucking spooked me so bad. They scared me like all those people that I was as scared of getting molested by that never got me because I ran away. They felt that bad.
Yes, there is a creepy old couple on this boat, and the thugs are on the boat with Davy, and they're trying to get closer to him. It's a little weird playing this whole musical chairs thing, since according to the movie, there are no available seats on the boat, but there are clearly at least two because they keep moving around. So one thug tells the football thug to cause a distraction and he'll kill Davy. And football thug yells fire, and the guy tries to stab him in the ensuing chaos. But Davy froggers his way across a paddle boat to shore.
Safe that way. It's all that video game action, Matt.
It is a straight up Frogger move. And I'm surprised that he doesn't say it out loud, honestly, or that they don't put the Frogger sound effect into the soundtrack. Since it's basically an Atari movie at this point. the old couple always, I feel like besides just oozing with evil, like you're supposed to, they're supposed to be being helpful, and like maybe you don't peg them as bad guys at the moment, but is there any way that anyone looks at these two characters and doesn't think that they're bad? It, they remind me of, like, maybe they remind me of like the creepy neighbors from Rosemary's Baby. They're obviously not good folks. But maybe I'm just applying that because I saw this movie so many times and I can't remember like what it was like to not already know that they were bad guys.
That's something that I can't separate myself from. I can't know that initial impression because that initial impression is lost forever.
They seem as though they are in disguise.
It seems like it's a pretend game where it's like, oh, look at that boy.
Yes,
Oh.
and she's wearing an obvious wig and she's got a little hat. Like they seem like they are obviously old people, and yet they seem as though they are dressed up as old people.
Yeah.
And something about that just doesn't quite work. And it's like it's obviously intentional. It is hard to imagine that people didn't always immediately assume that they were bad guys. Because they are very creepy. Especially her.
Well, I guess we'll probably have to revisit this movie then, where we introduce it to somebody who's never seen it before.
That may be necessary, yeah. Because I don't
And
believe
not
it's
tell them anything.
Yeah, because I would, my bet is it is not possible to watch this movie and think that that is just a helpful old couple. Because they're clearly evil.
Yeah, 100%. They are going to pretend that they've got candy and put you in the oven.
Yes, they probably live in a gingerbread house.
Yep. Spooky. Real spooky. I don't have a lot of notes for a while here because it's really not the most intelligible bit betwixt here and
Well, just in order to get the basic story beats, after running away from the boat, like he escapes, leaves behind the thugs and the creepy old couple, and he makes it back to the game store. And Kim is already there. Morris is there's no sign of Morris, but there is a bullet hole in the monitor on which he had been playing the game. We saw him get shot earlier. Like he was playing the game, he beat the game and unlocked the secret in the cartridge, which is top secret military plans for some sort of stealth bomber, maybe more. We don't.
no, it was Daryl. It was from the Daryl.
We don't see that much of it because immediately Rice comes in behind him and kills him, and presumably takes the game. So Kim is there. They have a little fight about whether or not Morris is dead, and basically Davies tells Kim to go home and make her mom call the police. He straight up says we need a grown up, which is responsible kid behavior. Like I am in way over my head. My dad doesn't believe me. Let's try your mom. Because
can't even imagine how many freaking bullets has already missed him in the last 42 hours.
Right? He's been shot at a lot. And and even his imaginary friend is not that helpful because right after this, when he leaves, he fucking tells him, hey, if you just run across that street, they're not going to hit you if you just keep moving. Are you serious? You're telling him to just run across the street against traffic.
It's part of it. Part of that, what it registered for me as is that's panic in the brain, and also him starting to realize I can't listen to this story anymore because it's not going to be true. It's not accurate. It's putting me in danger. I'm in a bad spot.
I I think that was because I watched this movie twice because I wanted to go back after seeing the whole thing. I wanted to go back and pay a little more attention to Jack Flack's moves. And this was because the first time through, that scene was my first like big like wait a minute, what is Jack Flack up to? Because you could have like just gotten him killed here and there was no reason for that. Like nothing that was happening in that moment was urgent enough to justify making that kid run across 4 lanes of traffic. Um, and so when I wanted to go back and see if there were a couple more clues before maybe that this was that either he was untrustworthy or that the writers were untrustworthy. Um, but that moment was a big red flag for me. Um, Probably not as big a red flag as when Davy finds Morris's body in the trunk of Rice's car.
I always just thought it was more of a realizing that Jack is not nearly as cool as he thought he would be, and if he acted the way that Jack did, then he'd be the same. But he's not because Jack is not real, and that's not.
Or is he? So okay. The whole thing that's going on is that the bad guys, the thugs that we have met so far that have been trying to kill Davy, are supposed to pass off the cloak and dagger game with the secret microchip in it to some sort of mysterious third party buyer or something. And all we know about them is that one of them is missing a couple of fingers on their right hand. So we have a thing that we are looking for as a viewer now. And of course, because this is Texas, they're gonna make the drop at the Alamo. So Davy rides in the trunk of the car with the corpse to get to the Alamo. And inside runs into that helpful old couple again. He tells them that Rice is trying to kill him, and eagle-eyed viewers may notice that Mr. Rice and the creepy old dude are carrying remarkably similar camera cases. I don't know if you noticed that, Ted, but
I did. For reals.
Yeah, so they make the switch. There's a whole lot of switcheroo going on here. I don't think we need to break all of it down. What matters is Rice isn't able to murder Davy, and Davy gets away with the help of the old couple, who, in the confusion, managed to get the case that has the game in it. And Davy is initially very excited about that.
Until the chloroform.
Yes, until he foolishly believes that the obviously evil old people are actually helpful, until she takes off her glove. And you see that she only has 3 fingers on her right hand. Oh
I just
God.
love that they did that, particularly in a way where she's like, "Oh, and what do you do?"
Actually, like, really relished being evil right there. It's
Spooky.
like she was like, yes, she was a creepy fucking villain in that moment. Like, because she knows, like, she's not gonna get her hands dirty really, but like she knows that this kid is gonna get killed. Like, she doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, she's like, ha, 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 and pulls her glove off and like, ooh, what's wrong, Davy? Jesus Christ. Like, she really is like a fucking like candy house witch.
You just have to worry about traumatizing him. She's gonna eat him later.
I guess so. she's gonna fatten him all up. Oh,
yeah. Long story short, let's bridge the gap to the airport. We'll skip the bad driving and everything.
Well, wait, but we can't skip the confrontation.
Oh shit, you're right. You're right.
Because,
We are going to have to do some more.
yeah, because there's some really important stuff that happens that I need to get into, and I'm already unsure that we have enough time. Davy gets away and he finds the car phone, and he calls Kim's house. Jack is trying to get him to leave. He's trying to get him to run away, which seems like it's maybe a good idea. Davy defies Jack Flack's advice to call Kim, where he finds out that she hasn't told her mother about this yet because her mom still isn't home. He tells Kim what he has found out, which is that the bad guys are an old couple and that the woman is missing a couple of fingers and that they are supposed to be catching a flight to Mexico City at midnight and that they're smuggling these secret plans out. And so that's vital information that she can pass along to the proper authorities. And then the bad guys come back. And there's a pretty good sequence where he steals the car, which he can't drive because he is too short to both push the pedals and see through the windshield at the same time. So there's a nice little sequence where he trashes Rice's car by scraping all of the parts off on getting out of the parking garage and then crashes into some more shit. And then I think drops like a load of cinder blocks on the roof or something. He really makes mincemeat of that car and runs away again and gets to a phone booth where he calls his dad. He finally is able to actually call his dad and tell him what happened. And again, his dad just doesn't believe him. He is making very little room for the possibility that Davy might be telling the truth. And he doesn't even get concerned until Davy tells him, "I'm not at home," because it's getting kind of late. And then the dad starts to think maybe something's happening, but he doesn't really act on it until Davy runs away and the phone booth is crashed into by the fucking van.
Because we still have Lou Ferrigno chasing after.
Yes. So the
Which
dad
isn't really Lou Ferrigno, just so that anybody's paying
no,
attention. I'm not pretending. It's not him. It's not Jesse the Body Ventura. It's some other mustachioed 80s man in sweatpants.
He looks like the guy that you would call if you couldn't get Dick Butkus to be in your movie.
Yeah, it's your neighbor's bad brother.
The one who's always getting out of jail.
Yeah. And hence the mustache.
All right, this is where I need to get into the Jack Flack stuff, because Jack's character is becoming increasingly unhinged at this point in the movie. And what we understand about Jack Flack's character is about to change kind of dramatically. And also some really scary stuff with Michael Murphy is going to happen. And
which one's Michael Murphy?
Rice. The stuff that I realized that I had held deep inside me since I was a little kid, and that I hadn't actually accessed any of that information in over 30 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, Jack Flack is loving this. This is what his character was made for. This is the actual spy thriller happening all around him. He knows how this story goes. He knows what to do in this situation. But Davy won't play right. Davy is suddenly more concerned with his friends back home than he is with the actual spy thriller story that's going on. And Jack Flack wants all of this to be happening. So suddenly Davy and what we thought was his imaginary friend are sort of weirdly at odds and becoming more at odds. And Davy runs and he falls, and Jack is trying to motivate him. but he doesn't understand why Davy isn't excited about what's happening. He's like, how many people have I killed with you over the years? And now
Isn't this what you always wanted?
this is what we're supposed to both want. And he doesn't understand why this is going wrong, which is a weird thing for an imaginary friend to be experiencing. Okay, listen. Here's the thing. Jack Flack is a monster.
Yes. Yes. Yes, he is. He convinced the little boy to murder somebody.
Yeah. Okay, so some pretty intense shit is about to happen. We've already seen that Jack Flack is kind of losing it, and he's getting real intense. And Davy seems like he's a little weirded out by it, and not just because a lot of terrifying things have been happening to him today.
No, that's exactly why it is.
It's more than just that. And okay, so we have some more shooting. We have the crossfire gambit where, under Jack Flack's instructions, he manages to trick one of the bad guys into killing the other bad guy.
Hold up. Before the crossfire gambit, though, Jack Flack tried to convince him to pick up a gun, and he wouldn't do it.
Correct. Not yet.
He was fighting back against it.
Here's another thing. Here's something that before we get into some of the other stuff. So he says the thing about how many people have I killed with you over the years, right? And now you don't want to play. He seems upset that Davy is not having a good time even before the crossfire game. But earlier, he observed in conversation with Davy that the thugs couldn't kill him because they couldn't see it. So Jack Flack knows that he is imaginary in the conventional sense. He knows that only Davy can see him. So must he not also know that the people that he quote unquote killed with Davy over the years were imaginary? Those were make-believe people in a make-believe situation.
But Matt, again, we're back to that text message we exchanged the other day about Drop Dead Fred.
Well, and we're not even to that part yet. I just feel like he is showing some rudimentary understanding of the difference between what's real and what's not real. And yet he doesn't seem to empathize with Davy's reluctance to actually kill another person. And then immediately we have the crossfire gambit where the one thug gets killed by Rice, and it's Davy who causes it to happen, but he doesn't actually kill anyone. And then he talks him into picking up a gun. And he does pick up the gun.
He runs off. Squirt gun, mister.
Right. So he picks up the dead thug's gun and runs off, and Jack's like, no, not that way, Davy. It's a dead end. So it's starting to seem like Jack has information that Davy doesn't have. And it is a dead end. And when Rice corners him and he assumes that the gun is the same fake gun that he had before, and he starts giving the speech, and that's where he's like, oh shit, I don't remember this, but I totally remember it. And he tells Davy, he's like, oh, I'm going to blow your kneecaps off, and it won't kill you, but it'll be worse than any dying you can imagine. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shoot you in the stomach. And when you beg for me to finish the job, I won't do it. I'm just going to watch you die and smile. And I'm like, holy shit. I remember all of this somewhere deep inside me. And it was like,
comic book land.
Very affecting.
Yep.
Yeah, he was being like, he is straight up scary evil to this little kid. And it's a pretty intense moment with the two of them.
It's great.
And this whole time, Jack is telling Davy to shoot him. But Davy doesn't want to do it. And basically this sequence ends with Jack tricking Davy into killing Rice. And that is like the pivotal moment for Davy. Because he,
Not a trick. It wasn't a trick.
it was a trick because he preyed upon Davy's confusion in the moment to react to Rice shooting Jack Flack, who couldn't be hurt as far as Davy knew.
Okay, I see where you're going at it. Yeah, I got it.
He tricked him in that sense. He made Davy believe that he, Jack, was in danger.
And he was seen, oddly, by Rice.
This
Maybe.
Yes, this sequence is puzzling because it seems unclear whether Rice is responding only to Davy looking at where Jack is for him, or whether he's seeing him. Jack is presented on the screen as transparent for the first time, except when he's like fading in or fading out. He's there, but he's transparent, and we're like, I'm not sure what that is supposed to mean to us.
Yeah.
It's a little unclear. But what happens is Davy actually kills Rice and is mad at Jack for tricking him into doing that, which is pretty fucking reasonable as far as I can see. But Jack says, Davy, you killed the bad guys. You won the game. How do you feel? And he's like, it wasn't fair. You tricked me. You made me kill him. And Jack says, it was a clear case of self-defense. Come on, let's go to the airport. Which is true. It was a clear case of self-defense, but that isn't the point for Davy, who lashes out and crushes his Jack Flack figurine and says, I don't want to play anymore.
And I always cry.
Do you?
Yep. It's not just a childhood thing. It's an adult thing too. It's when you get to the point where where social engagements that you have with people and you can no longer get past certain issues. I don't because I do perceive a lot of life, and it's probably unhealthy, but I do perceive a lot of life in a way of you're playing a role. You're trying to get to hopefully an interactive goal with other people who want to reach that point with you. But even if you're not, you're still trying to work through that work and game of a day of I'm going to get from point A to point B and I'm going to do a good job or I'm going to do a bad job. What's it going to be? Hopefully it's going to be a good job. I'm going to be trying to do a great job. I want to win. I want to win at life all the time in whatever engagement that I'm working at. But you've got certain aspects that you're not going to be able to get through, and you've got other people that are encumbering your capability to get through them, and they're not playing the same freaking game that you're playing. And sometimes that's a scary game.
It's he has outgrown him and they're growing apart, and that is like that is a very fundamental thing to know about evolving relationships, is that
shit
that sometimes that does happen. And that would be, and here's the thing, that would be interesting enough thematically to tackle in this movie, but what happens next is kind of fucked up. So when Davy says, I don't want to play anymore, Jack is crestfallen, understandably. And he's like, I see. And he says, why do you kids always say that? Davy asks what he means. He says, your father said the same thing. And after all those games of cowboys and Indians, get tired of make-believe and you break your toys. And my fucking head exploded, because what does this mean? All of a sudden,
two connected universes.
Yes, this is drop dead Fred.
Yeah.
Because now Jack Flack has a continuity of consciousness outside of Davy's imagination.
Yep.
Not only is he an imaginary friend to a series of children, he was an imaginary friend to Davy's father.
It's a beautiful accident that I don't think that they know that they made.
No, I don't think they did, and I don't think they could possibly understand like how important that information is, because they didn't think it through at all. But it is wild, because I mean, what is he now? What are these creatures? How many of them are there? Are they all like this? I mean, if he is not Davy's imaginary friend, if he's not his inner voice, then what is he? Did all of those things he did that were kind of dangerous, was it just because he's not that smart? Was it because he actually doesn't care if Davy gets hurt? It doesn't really mean that much to him. He clearly doesn't understand the subtle nuances about reality and unreality. Like, this whole thing becomes a lot more messed up that Jack Flack is a real thing that exists and will continue to exist. And I assume is a shapeshifter, because when he was fucking Davy's dad's imaginary friend, he probably didn't look like what Davy's dad was going to look like when he grew up.
They broke it.
Who chose his form? Did Davy choose his form? Like, is this like a Gozer thing? Like, where does the Daddy Jack Flack thing come from? Like, I don't know what to do with this information other than assume that he knows Drop Dead Fred.
That entire sequence right there, they broke the movie in a way that could not have been understood until what, 1991, when Drop Dead Fred came out? They broke it by doing that in such a fun way. It was an accident that they didn't intend, but just that brief interaction, it made the movie so much more than the movie ever could have expected to have become.
And I did not remember that at all. Like, that just blew me away. Like, I had no recollection that these claims were made by this movie. And it changes everything.
It's no longer a coming of age story. It's a coming of ages throughout time story.
Yeah.
And who the fuck? I can't believe that they intended to build it in that way.
No, I don't.
Somebody at least threw that little wrench in the monkey works.
But then they completely shit on everything at the end of the movie. And because I don't think we need to get into all the details of what happens toward the airport. We've got a whole ticking clock situation with him carrying a bomb. No, it's really fun. And I heartily recommend this. It's a blast to watch. You need us to recount every single thing that occurs. But what happens is at the end, we end up with the two evil old people and Davy and his dad pretending to be the pilot on a plane at the airport they're planning to hijack to Mexico City. But Davy is still carrying a big old bomb in the walkie-talkie that he took from Kim. And he keeps trying to tell people that he has a bomb, and nobody will listen to him because he's a fucking kid.
There are two really big things to take away from this movie. Adults don't listen to you until it's too late.
Correct.
And what were the last words that Jack said to Davy?
I think the actual last words that he said to Davy were "save Kim."
I'm pretty sure it was "you're always on your own."
That was the last thing he said, I think, when he still had physical form, and then he had the Obi-Wan voiceover.
You might be right.
For just a moment.
Either way, yeah. I mean, if it's "save Kim" or "you're always on your own," that's good life to live by right there.
But I also feel
good words to live by.
I feel like "You're always on your own" was actually a poignant and meaningful line for the version of the script that acknowledged Jack Flack as imaginary.
Yes.
But it's clearly not true now, right?
No, because you're haunted by a ghost that haunted your father and who knows how many other people.
Yes, it's suddenly really complex and weird and potentially far more interesting than it was before. But this movie has no idea what to do with that. So it does the cheapest, easiest, fucking shittiest thing that it could possibly do, which is we were on the plane and Davy's dad is like, he's there because he's finally stepped up to the plate and decided that his kid isn't only a liar. He saves Davy from the plane in a pretty irresponsible fashion, actually, because he essentially drops him right in front of the wheels. And
Yeah.
if he didn't luckily roll away just in time, he would have been squashed on the tarmac, and that would have been probably a worse ending than the one we got. And the one we got was really, really bad because he saves him, and then the plane blows up, and Davy has like a couple of moments of thinking that his dad is dead. And then the silhouette of the dude walking out of the flames, like you do if you're a Terminator. And for a minute he thinks it's Jack Flack, but then wait, it's just his regular dad. And he's like, "How'd you escape?" And his dad says, "Jack Flack always escapes." And Davy says, "I don't need him anymore. I've got you, Dad." And it's awful, Ted. It's so awful. And it feels like it is pasting over a different ending that maybe used to be there. Even the way it looks on screen is awful. It's framed against the rear projection of the flames from the burning plane, which seemed like they're on a slowed down loop. It doesn't even look fake real. The whole thing appears to me to have just been like dropped in there from somewhere terrible.
See, I don't think that you had the one with the deleted scenes where there was the alternate ending where Dad's walking out of the flames and he says Jack Black always escapes. And then there's a guy with some red hair and a green jacket who smears a booger on Elliott's face and says, "Don't listen to him, snot face. Fuck that arse."
And then he says, "It was nothing like that penis breath."
Exactly.
Literally anything would have been better. Hold
on. Let me tell you about the way that this movie ended for me. So I tried to play the movie because I've owned this disc for a very long time, but it's been a while since I watched it. Put it in, wouldn't read. Actually broke my fucking PlayStation. Had to pop it out, clean everything off, and then it took me about 8 to 10 minutes to clean off the disc because there was apparently some like really gross grime on it that if it were the 1980s, I probably would have said some wonderful stuff that stuck the pages together on a pornographic magazine. It was.
Are you sure it wasn't that booger you were just talking about?
If it was that booger spread around real hard all over the thing. It took a really long time. I don't even know. I've never cleaned a disc that was so grimy, and it was just like one thin layer, but it was almost irremovable. I finally got it clean. I put it in, I washed it, and it got right up to about 35 seconds after Davy had fallen out the window of the airplane. And it shat the bed.
Oh, so you were spared.
No, I wasn't. I was furious about it. I was like, I'm too tired. I'm not going to deal with this tonight. I'm going to bed. And then the next day I got up and I was like, gotta polish that disc again. And I polished that disc again and I fast forward and I fast forward and I fast forward. And I get to it and you guess how much was left of the movie? 18 seconds.
Yeah, there's nothing.
18 seconds.
It's just that one exchange.
as I had said to Emily last or the night before, I was like, I'm pretty sure that this is exactly what happens after that. Like, oh, that was all. Yep, there was nothing
No,
else
it's
after that.
really abrupt.
Yep.
It's yeah, it's this is it was very like I cannot believe this is how the movie was supposed to end. Um and yeah, and it's weird because it sucks
Fraud
really.
premiums are real?
It's
I
yes.
need you, Dad.
It's like what is up with Henry Thomas and these movies ruining themselves? Because
Makes
so
me want
much
to watch The Haunting at Hill House again and
I
see how
remember that.
well that ended.
Okay.
Been a
Um
while.
but yeah, this is so much of this movie is very enjoyable. And the thriller aspect is fun. It feels like it has real stakes most of the time. Henry Thomas is terrific as usual. It's a solid, fun little movie, and for whatever reason, it just the one really unusual thing about it, which is the Jack Flack character, like it doesn't quite know how to handle it, and then it just instead of figuring it out, it just quits, and it is a huge bummer because it is a terrible way to end this movie. You if you had stopped like honestly just him walking out of the flames and then the movie stopping would have been better.
Yeah, I always appreciated the stomping of the character toy and realizing that it's time to grow up now. But they didn't finish it there, and it wasn't quite right.
Yeah, this movie could it wouldn't have taken much to fix that the really uneven handling of the Jack Flack character, and it I would love to know what the script actually said at the end originally, because I firmly believe it wasn't this, and it's hard for me to imagine that what they are replacing is actually worse than what they replaced it with. Uh, so I still I would recommend this movie
I
in
like
general.
this movie.
Me too. Um, but it has one big fat fucking problem right at the end that makes it a little hard to palate.
Or you could also remember that imaginary friends are flawed, and we can, in fact, say that this movie is the precursor to Drop Dead Fred.
I I could actually imagine someone watching this movie feeling passionate about what they messed up and creating Drop Dead Fred as a better way of approaching that idea. Um, Interestingly, Drop Dead Fred is very divisive among viewers as well.
Oh no,
Um,
it's actually really painful to watch as a D4C and seeing how poorly they try and paint certain characters without also looking at the reality of everything that surrounds what can be divorce. And a lot of people, yeah, that's a reality. What actually happens in there a lot of the time, but it's not all of the reality. It's like uh, there's a wonderful book by Neil Gaiman called "The Ocean at the End of the Lane." Have you ever read that?
not.
I suggest it. It's a wonderful book, but it also, when you look at it, it it's a very divisive book that can be used in a way to paint people in a bad way, where it's not the way that divorces always go,
Yeah,
or separation
I know
or
exactly. Like
nasty feelings.
I
But
yeah, the character of the stepmother is definitely not given her due. in Drop Dead Fred. We should definitely talk about that movie sometime.
I would
because
love to watch it.
I adore it.
I
It's
think I
kind of
own it.
hard. It's hard to track down for some people. If you have it, we can definitely.
Pretty sure I do.
I can get it. I know I can get it through interlibrary loan. I do not have my own copy anymore, but it is something that I can get through the library. And it's one of my favorite movies. I absolutely adore it. And yes, the stepmother, she does not come out very well, and it's a shame. I think the movie kind of knows that, but I feel like that could have been handled better too. I'm excited to see that again. We should definitely talk about it. But yeah, this movie feels like it is gesturing toward what Drop Dead Fred became. But it is not there, and they dropped the ball super, super hard, and god damn, it bums me out. But
Isn't it fun revisiting childhood memories and seeing where it's like, oh, well, that was great, except for the.
it is fascinating because most of the time I feel like the things that I remember most are the things that suck about the movies. And this one was a surprise. I had forgotten the thing that sucked most about this movie. So that was great. In that respect, I appreciate the change of pace, being able to be presented the really shitty thing as if it were totally new information.
That's one of the fun things about forgetting shit.
Absolutely. And I hope to forget it again soon.
Well, you know what? At some point, I am going to have to make you rewatch some other things with me after we've had some new context revisited. It could be fun.
All right.
I haven't got anything like in mind, but I'm pretty sure it could be fun. Like now we have to go back to this thing. The sucked.
We definitely I think that as much as I've enjoyed everything that we've done so far, but I definitely get a specific charge out of seeing something like this that made a big impression on me at one time, but that I have not revisited as an adult. We'll probably run out of those, but this was a good one.
It is.
I mean, I've been really enjoying like seeing these. Like we've made some really good choices lately with movies with strong child leads, and those are, those can be rare.
It's true.
Okay, so I guess we have made it to the end of this movie, and all that's left is for you to tell me why it's not as good as RoboCop.
Why is this not as good as RoboCop?
See, you can't even think of anything.
I don't think that this movie is not as good as RoboCop. I think that I can't argue a possibility. This is better than RoboCop.
What?
This movie is better than RoboCop.
How dare you?
Matt, what is this movie actually about?
This movie is very clearly about the death of childhood. Unfortunately, because what this movie should be about is the magic of imagination.
You hit the nail on the head. And I got better.
Well, hopefully we'll get a Jack Flack and Drop Dead Fred team up if we never get our Bastion and Elliott team up.
Here's to hoping.
Until next time, Ted.
I love you, Matt.
It was excellent having this conversation, and I don't need him anymore. I've got you, Ted.
Yeah, and you know what? Fuck the Crossfire Gambit.
Fuck it right in the face.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I mean, not unless absolutely necessary.
Well, I mean, that.
The Depot Devoid is that place your mind goes when you've lost your train of thought, but you haven't found a new one. The Depot Devoid podcast is hosted by Matt Fagan and Ted Fagan. Depot Devoid is not hosted by Ian Fagan because he died and we miss him. Find our full video episodes at Depot Devoid Podcast on YouTube. On social media, you can find us at Depot Devoid Podcast on Blue Sky, and for now, still on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can email us at depotdevoidpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can listen to the show on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Jack Flack is a monster.